Quick show of hands here. How many of you are planning or thinking about exiting your business, selling your business in the next 1 to 3 years? I'm genuinely curious. Drop a one in the chat if that's you, because I have been really deeply focused on this, studying this, looking at this, talking to a bunch of entrepreneurs who have already successfully exited at least one business. And there are some pretty profound realizations and takeaways that I want to share with you all because I think it is so relevant. Because the problem with exiting your business is that your stupid tax is unbelievably high. What do I mean by stupid tax? I mean the cost of what you don't know, right? Exiting your business is this huge, scary, complex thing. There's so many steps, there's so much to know. And not knowing any one of these things will cost you anywhere from tens of thousands to millions of dollars because you didn't prepare and exit your business knowing everything. And so if it is on your radar in the next 1 to 3 years that you think you need to exit, stay with me, check out this video. I want to summarize and share the biggest learnings and takeaways that I've had around this recently as we've been working with clients to help prep them for exit, as I've been interviewing former clients and friends who have successfully exited. There are some learnings that, for the people who've gone through this process, they only found out by going through the process. And by that time, it was too late. By the time they realized that if they had changed this one thing in their business, it would have made them an extra 50 grand. It's too late. They're already selling their business. They don't have the chance to course correct. And so the more research and study we can do well in advance, the more time we give ourselves to change these things in our businesses, all of that immediately comes back as very direct and huge ROI in the form of higher valuation, because you've taken every single part of your business when you had the time and you've optimized it into something that is maximally value add. So these are the biggest learnings. These are the biggest takeaways that I personally have been focused on in the last few weeks. Number one is building a business that is sellable pretty much looks the same as building a business that is sustainable. What do I mean by that? I mean that, I do operations. What we help our clients do is, whether they plan to exit or not, build a sustainable business, build a business that can run, the day-to-day can run without them. They've got the right systems in place. They've got a really high-performing, proactive, critical thinking team in place. They have all of these things. That's what makes a business sustainable. But it is also what makes a business sellable. Those are all the same things that a buyer is looking for. And so it's almost like, even if you aren't planning on exiting, or you don't know when you plan to exit, you might as well still be doing these things, because it's just going to become a better version of your business. So what are these things? What are the major categories of things that our clients and people who've gone through successful exits are sharing with us as being the most important? Number one is team. Because when you are not continuing, right? When you are stepping out of your business, when you exit, your business loses you, but it keeps your team. And so how valuable is your team? Is your team a valuable asset? Is your team enough to keep the day-to-day of the business not just running, not just maintaining, but actively growing, or not? Because if your business is reliant on you, if your business needs you to show up all day, every day and do XYZ things, or wear all these different hats, or work 80-hour weeks, then your business can't survive losing you. It can't outlast you. And when you go to sell that business, what your buyer sees is a job. They see an 80-hour-a-week job if they want that business to continue to run and grow. And I don't know many buyers who want an 80-hour-a-week job. So we convince ourselves that our businesses need us. And we hear all the time that our businesses need us. They need us to work 80 hours a week. They need us to hustle. But the reality is if we fall into that trap, your business will ultimately suffer because it can never outlive you. And your valuation will ultimately suffer because no buyer is trying to buy a job. They want to buy a machine. They want to buy an asset that can create its own success with or without them there. And so right now, you are that buyer. You are the person who has the opportunity to turn this machine into something that can run without you. And yet we don't do that. We don't pour into the systems and the team and the things that we would need in order to do that. And not only does it hurt us in the short term, because it makes running our business really hard and unsustainable, but it hurts us in the long term because it actually slashes our valuation. And so right now, if you're telling yourself that this is just what my business needs from me right now, the cautionary tale I would tell you is that, we've worked with clients going from deeply buried in the day-to-day weeds, nothing can move forward without them, to totally free of their company. That can happen, but it takes 6 to 12 months. And so by the time you get to that point where you are ready to exit, and this is the best practice number 2, is like a lot of these people I've been talking to exited because they felt like they had to, exited because they were just done. They were just done running this business. They were just tired of it. They were just burnt out by it. They were frustrated by it. And that is the worst time to have to sell your business, because probably things are not going well. Never good to sell during a downturn. Buyers want to see this trend line, not this trend line. And you're selling from a place of urgency and scarcity because you want out so bad, as opposed to everything's going great. I can fucking do this forever, but now is a really good time to sell. That's when you want to sell. You want to sell from a place of not taking the first offer that comes your way, of not settling in your target valuation or what you hope to make for yourself. Most of the wealth that you build within your startup comes when you exit. Like 2/3 or something of the money, total money that you ever make from this business will come when you exit the business. And so if you are taking a hit in that final moment, just because energetically, emotionally, for one client, it's because he had a family emergency, so he had to sell it really quickly. If these are the types of things that are forcing you to sell, you are giving up tens, if not hundreds, if not millions of dollars because you're just done. As opposed to, I put all the right foundations in place. I could keep running this race forever. It's super sustainable and enjoyable for me, but the right buyer, the right offer, or the right moment in time has presented itself to me, and now I'm going to go ahead and exit. That's where you want to be. But the hustle and the grind and the 80 hours a week will put you in the other movie. It will force you into a place of exiting from a place of lack and need, and like, just get me the fuck out of this business. So a couple of best practices in there. Take that what you will. The other major things that buyers are looking for, that, the people I'm talking to are like, man, I wish that I had poured more time and energy into this because it would have maximized my valuation. But by the time I got there, it was too late. And so I just took the valuation that I had. So we've gotten team, obviously systems and SOPs, right? One of my buddies said something absolutely brilliant, which is that what buyers want is a reasonable chance at success. They're looking for a business that they think reasonably, this business will continue to be successful once I acquire it, right? Of course they are. They're looking for a financial investment. And so how can they know whether or not something has a reasonable chance at success? They need to see how that success is created. They need to be able to see it. They need to be able to touch it. They need to be able to understand it, because otherwise it's just like a shot in the dark. Otherwise it's just like a draw, whether or not it could be successful or not, because they have no idea where that success comes from. So systems, documentation, meaning SOPs, are tangible structures that allow a buyer to see, oh, they're not successful by chance, or they're not just successful because the founder works really hard. They've systemized success. Success is a tap that they can turn on and off. Success is something that they can create reliably and repeatably, because they have the systems and SOPs in place that always and reliably and repeatably produces success. So that's why systems and SOPs are important. They're not important in and of themselves, right? A buyer doesn't want to just look at your SOPs, check a box, and keep going. They matter because they indicate your team, not you, but your team, can continue to produce the same result, if not better, without you. And that is a reasonable chance of success. Cool. So we've got team, absolutely key. I'll circle back to that in a moment. Systems and SOPs, absolutely key. The next big one was data. And there was some interesting stuff around data. We all know data is important. We all know that we need data to make better decisions, et cetera, et cetera. The reason that data is important when you sell is because data tells the story. And what are you doing when you sell your business, if not sales? And what is sales 101? Tell the best story, right? Your job when you're prepping your business for exit is, how can I present a story of this company that a buyer can see themselves continuing forward, can see themselves taking on and moving into the future. And the data is what they're looking at to tell the story. Because like charisma and a great storyteller isn't quite enough when they're going to buy your whole business. You need to actually have the raw, hard facts. And data tells the story. Your profit line, your revenue line, those are obvious. But the other underlying metrics are just as important, because buyers, nobody's casually buying businesses. They want to know. Their due diligence is this incredibly deep, robust process. And if right now you are starting to aggregate and build the data that is starting to paint a story of your business, then when it does come time to sell, you've got that story to present. Versus if you are, cool, 3 months away from wanting to sell your company, I promise you, it takes 3 months just to clean up historical data. And I promise you, the data will not be accurate, right? So you will, again, set yourself back 6 months, 12 months, because now not only do you have to clean up the data, reconfigure it and present it in a way that it's presentable, but maybe you don't like the story that data is telling. And so now we have to double down and be in this business for another 12 months just to change the numbers so that it tells a more compelling story, right? Versus, again, tracking your data now and knowing what numbers buyers find to be important, which is actually something that I want to give you all. So stay tuned with me on that. If you know what numbers buyers find important and you are looking at those numbers 1 to 2 years in advance of planning to exit and sell, then you have direct control over that story. You're telling the story, and you get to design and strategically grow your business to tell the best story possible. And again, it's certainly not just top line revenue, right? Like, top line revenue is important, but ultimately your multiplier comes from EBITDA, it comes from profit. So profit is exceptionally important. And then again, the cascading set of metrics below that a buyer will want to see. You need to know what those numbers are. You need to be looking at them, and you need to be optimizing them so that by the time the buyer is looking at this business, they're not just seeing one good month because you optimized everything and you had one good month. They're seeing 6 months, 12 months, 2 years of historical data that's telling the story of your business and telling them why, again, this has a reasonable chance of success. So data is exceptionally important, not just for you running the day-to-day of your business. It is that as well. But it's exceptionally important for you to be able to tell the best story. And if you want the best offers, if you want competing offers, like if you want buyers to start a bidding war over your business, you need to have the most attractive offer out there. You have to tell the best story. Final thing I would say, and then we'll wrap this up. When I talk about team, I'm not just talking about a bunch of really good people who can follow SOPs and who can reliably create success. I'm specifically talking about a leadership team. That was the big theme that came out of so many of these interviews. And again, stay with me because I want to give you full access to all of these interviews for free. The big thing that came out of it is it's not just team, it's the leadership team. Because really, when you step out of the business, when you go to exit it, your buyer's not just looking for do we have a media buyer that can follow the ad campaign SOP? Do we have a head of media buying who can innovate new ads? Do we have a head of media buying who's an innovative, creative, critical problem solver so that if the ads tank or ad costs go wild or Mark Zuckerberg shuts off our ad account, I have somebody on the team who can proactively and creatively solve that problem, and not just solve it, but help us grow through it. What they're looking for is critical thinkers, not just doers. They're looking for proactive problem solvers and innovators, not just SOP monkeys. And so right now, if you are wearing all of those hats, which is what I most often see of I've got a bunch of doers that just do what I tell them to do all day, every day. And then I'm sitting at the top, making all the decisions, having all the ideas, innovating all the strategies, coming up with all the new things that we're going to do. Again, that's like the brain. That's like you being the brain and your team being the body. What happens when you take the brain out of the body? Body's freaking useless. The body collapses. The body can't do shit, right? And so how can you create a team that is the brain? How can we go octopus style and have 8 brains in all of our different legs so that if you just take one brain out, that's yours, the body can continue to function, and not just function, but grow? Because again, your buyer doesn't want to replace you. They want a machine that can run with or without them, or a machine that has this incredible growing foundation that they can then take to the next level. But if you are the sole source of progress and innovation and creativity, your business will not grow without you. Somebody has to bring that to the table. And so if that's not you, it has to be your leadership team. And the big cautionary tale, I learned this from Alex and Layla Hermosi, is that it takes way longer to build a leadership team than you expect. Way longer. It takes maybe 3 months to hire a leadership team. but to train them, to systematically start delegating to them, to help them make decisions the way you would want them to make decisions, to help them gel and start to work together as a team and become their own unit, that takes 6, easily 12 months. So again, I'm sharing all of this with you because if you're in that, looking 1 to 3 years out timeline, these are the things you need to start building now so that 12 months from now, they're in place. Otherwise, it's 12 months from now, you've decided you're ready to exit. You're like, all right, what do I need to do to exit? And now we're 12 months behind the ball on some of the most important value drivers that you could have been building into your business all along. So it's just more efficient, right? You just don't lose time having to go back and start over on things that you could have been just as easily building today. And by going through and building those things today, your lived experience, your business will grow faster. It will grow stronger. You'll have more brains, more decision makers at the table. You'll be able to take vacations with your family. Like it's win-win-win to start to put these things in the business as quickly as possible. So these are some of the really big learnings that I want to share with you. Obviously, there is way more detail to cover in all of this, which is why I'm very excited because, again, I've been fully focused on this, guys. I want to give you all what I'm calling my valuation vault. My valuation vault. And this includes a few things. It includes that data and KPI list. So it's like 84 acquirers KPIs, things that buyers are actively looking for. It's a pre-exit profit maximizer masterclass, right? Again, your multiplier ultimately comes from your profit. So you could have an awesome top line revenue, but if your profit is shit, your business isn't worth that much. So how do you maximize profit and what can you do right now to increase your profit margin? That's in there. It's all of these live interviews that I've been talking about with 5 different founders who've recently successfully exited their businesses, their learnings, the things they wish they had known, their biggest takeaways. And again, all of this is 100% free. I'm building it together, my valuation vault. So if you want that, go ahead, comment on this post. I'll see the comment. I'll shoot that over to you. Because at the end of the day, you have worked too damn hard and poured so much life force into this business for it to falter at the final step, for you to walk away with a fraction of the value that you deserve because of stupid tax, just because we didn't put these things in place. We didn't know we needed to put these things in place and we weren't thinking about it early enough. So the more I can get this information out there, the better for all of us, because then we all get to make more money, and not just make more money, but make the fair amount of money that is equivalent to the value of this incredible machine that you are creating. So that's my ambition behind it. Go ahead. Again, if you want my valuation vault, drop a comment so that I can see that, so I can shoot that over to you. And I hope this mini exit masterclass was helpful, guys. I really do. And if there is anything that we can do, me and my last ops, to help you prep, like actually action these things within your business, you know where to find me. You know where to find us. Again, drop a comment below. We'll reach out. We'll hook it up. Cool, everybody. That's what I have for you today. Wishing you all